Good morning. How are you guys? It is June 18th and it's a Saturday morning and I'm sitting out here and it is extremely nice. We're like 68 degrees nice out here. The birds are chirping. It's a gorgeous morning. So it's a great morning to sit out here and say hi and give you guys an update. What are we doing? We are doing lots of things. It's been really warm, so we've been going to the pool, and that's been really fun. We went last year, but we didn't go as often because we were busy being hands and hearts of service to my husband. So this is a good time to get back out there and have fun. As you can see, we got a little color yesterday swimming with our friends. Otherwise, what's been going on? We just got done with Vacation Bible School. That's really cool because we had not done it for 2 years, and I had to step down from my leadership role, as many of you know, and thankfully Kathy took that over, and she did a beautiful job. Her and the volunteers were amazing, and I was grateful that I was able to be a part of it and help in many ways too. So it was really nice. It was a great week to see how the Holy Spirit works through the Vacation Bible School program, to see our youth back there again and to have fun with them. And it was really neat. We ended Mass, we always end the week with Mass and a luncheon. And thankfully we had Mass, and it was beautiful to watch the kids do the readings and the responsorial psalm. And, you know, it was just beautiful. And the priest was amazing. Our regular priest has COVID, so he's on quarantine right now. That's just, we're all going to have seasons of that, right? And thankfully, we have a visiting priest, and he came and he was just beautiful. And one of the neat things is his favorite saint is Saint Teresa Lisieux, the Little Flower. And of course, that's Mark and I's favorite saint because that's the one that brought us together. So that was really cool to see Mark at, just to see and feel Mark at the Mass. And then the priest also mentioned a Bible verse, "Let the children come unto me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." And that is Mark's Bible verse. Oh my gosh. It was just, I was like, oh my gosh, honey, you're here. You're here. So that was really cool. So we're seeing Mark in the everyday, in ordinary and extraordinary ways. So, ooh, I'm getting emotional. I'm going to turn him off here in just a minute. Let's see, we also went to our favorite place, Timberlake. That is a place that Mark had introduced us to back in 2013. And I remember I was so hesitant to even want to go because it was like, it sounded kind of like a cabin, like dirt floor cabin and pit toilets. And that can be fun and all, but with kids, I just did not, and a baby, I did not want to do that. And by the grace of God, it was not that. It was extremely nice cabin, extremely nice grounds to stay at. So Timberlake and Mount Carroll, check it out if you're needing a local getaway. It's only an hour and 15 minutes away from here. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And we go, and my parents go, and my nephews and niece go, and thankfully my daughters were able to go at least one of the days, and my mother-in-law got to go, and I love that she's still so much a part of our lives, because if she wasn't, it would be like losing her too, and I cannot have that. So, but yeah, Mark was very much present. Rose was in the pool at Timberlake, and at one point she goes, "Dad's here," and I'm like, "Where?" And she goes, "No, no." She goes, "I can't see him, but I know he's here. I just know it. I can feel him." And I'm like, that was pretty awesome. I love that she was aware and sensitive to that, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. So, uh, yeah, so many things where Mark continues to show up. It's just like, I know he's gone, but he's not. And I can feel him. It's not like a feeling like you and I, like touching or holding hands or anything. It's very different. It's just a knowing that he's close by and very close. So it's beautiful. I ask his help every day, talk to him all the time. Oh my goodness. Or something will come up and that he would have totally have done. And I'm like, Mr. Poles, I like green beans. This guy does not like green beans. I think you guys might have remembered that. We were down in Orange Beach, Alabama, and he ordered a dish and a couple things he had ordered before they didn't have. And he goes, "You mean to tell me?" And he loved to harass the waitresses. He's like, "You mean to tell me that I came 17 hours down here and that's the one thing I wanted and you don't have it?" And the waitress was just, she caught on to him and gave it right back. So it was funny. But anyway, he orders this dish and it comes with like half a plate of green beans, Cajun green beans, which are delicious, by the way. And he looked at the plate and he goes, "What is that?" to the waitress. And she goes, "It's what you ordered." And he goes, "No, no, 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 no. That is fish and that is ackee." I'm like, "Marcus." She just looked at it. She goes, "Well, that's what you ordered." And he's like, "That's ackee." And she goes, "Do you want corn instead?" And he goes, "Yes." Oh my gosh. So anyway, he does not like green beans, like not even a little bit. So I had purchased green beans just the other week, just for something fresh. I love green beans. And I'm telling you, they were rotten the next day. And I'm like, that is really weird. That never happens. I'm like, "Mr. Pulse, listen here. Just because you're not here, or, doesn't mean you can be like taken over whether or not my beans stay good or not." Which I know sounds crazy to say, but it was totally something he would do. So ended up throwing them away. That was just funny. Other things that continue to show up, just a beautiful morning or a beautiful memory. Every once in a while, I do replay how all of this happened so quickly, because it did happen so quickly. And it's like, did I do everything right? Did I, you just start to second guess yourself. And thankfully, I replay the events and I did everything the way I was shown. And I just, it was his time. It was his time. And he was showing signs for a while. And, those are the things that you have to wrap your head around and just remind yourself that, yes, you did do everything you could. You did talk with the hospice team. You did talk with his team in VA. And, you just have to almost coach yourself in a way and reassure yourself that, yes, you did do exactly what they told you to do and you did love him through it. And thankfully, there's some things that he thankfully did not have to go through with ALS. ALS is just such a devastating disease. And so I'm grateful that there's a lot of things he didn't go through. But I do miss him. Some of the things that are kind of nice, though, is we can really go and do things without having to plan ahead too much. When someone's in a wheelchair, you really have to think about, where are we going to park? How am I going to get him out of the van? How am I going to get him into the building? And you try to think ahead, because if it's too hard to get them in, it can kind of wear on them. It gets frustrating. It gets, it's just stressful. And then the event or the outing isn't as enjoyable. So there was a lot of times when we'd go places that I was trying to constantly think, what's the easiest, best way to get him in and out so that he feels comfortable. And because I loved him, and so, but it's nice just to be able to go and not have to look for those things, and to schedule things without having to worry too much about his schedule and what he needed, and having to carry all of his equipment, and which was a blessing to be able to do. So please don't take that as negative. It's not that I didn't love him, it's that I totally did. But having the freedom from that and being able to not have that is also nice as we transition into this new life. Otherwise, what else? Oh, we found the recipient. So all of the equipment that we were given was given to us by the VA. Praise be to God. How God provided is beyond words, friends. We have an awesome God, an awesome, awesome God. And so we have all this beautiful equipment, and they said we can't take it back, because if there were to be anything wrong with it or any issues, it's yours. And I was like, what do you do with it? You know, like, don't get me wrong, it's amazing equipment. But we certainly aren't in a season to need it anymore. So by the grace of God, we have found our recipient for his equipment, and it's a cousin's husband, and it's just so beautiful because that was one thing that Mark had wanted. You know, he goes, "That's the beautiful part is, my legacy is I get to pass it on to someone that wouldn't have the means to have this stuff." And thankfully, this person is not thankfully, unfortunately, he has MS and it's progressing. And but by the grace of God, we get to bless them with the equipment. God gets to bless them with the equipment. It's not us, but it's just so beautiful to see and to know and to make. I know that it made my life easier trying to help Mark, and it allowed him to stay home, and that was just such a gift. So thankfully, we get to pass that gift on. So God is so good. And it's a way of honoring Mark too, we get to, so that's just such a gift. So praise be to God. Otherwise, we are continuing just to simplify our home and our schedule. There's, now that I'm the only one, I've got the two girls and they are so helpful. They are just my little sidekicks, and I'm so grateful. And we do have the other three kids, and they are great too. They come over when we need them, and but there's a lot more on my plate, and so I'm trying to carefully pray and discern what God is calling us to in this next season. We're still in a season of grief and change, and so I'm not committing to anything at this time, only because I need to commit myself wholeheartedly to my children and my home and me. Not because I'm trying to be selfish, but because I have a vocation in being a mother and a homemaker and a servant of Christ. And part of that is figuring out how to care for myself and care for the girls. And what is that going to look like? What does that need to be? What is God calling us to? And thankfully, God is patient and teaching us a lot. So I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to do. Do I go back to running the religious education program? I know my assistant Kathy did a beautiful job, but this is not something she wants to do. She's retired, and so is it a season of I just take this summer to figure this out? Or do I learn sooner? That way they can find someone to fill that position. So there's just a lot of praying to do, looking at how do we honor God with this life and our words and our actions. So it's just a time of prayerfully weighing the pros and cons, going to God in chapel and at church, and just surrendering all of our needs and all that we are and all that we aren't to Him, and just like we do any other time, and saying, God, how do we honor you in this season? What are you calling us to? Is this a time of rest? Is this a time of just grieving and learning? Or is it a time to get back into service to you? So we're just trying to listen. We're trying to be quiet and careful and listen. So, and we're trying to rebuild those relationships too. We've got some beautiful friendships that have stayed with us through this whole thing, and some that we've had to put to the side. And so we're trying to rebuild those relationships too, which is beautiful. But otherwise, the girls, they're amazing. They're so amazing. They get sad. They tell me. We cuddle, we hug, we cry, we laugh, we share so much together, and that's beautiful. And thankfully, friends have been great listeners, have been great just providers, and just meeting up with us and having a free day or praying with us. And so God is so good. He's still so good. Thank you for staying prayerful and mindful of us. Thank you for reaching out to us. We love you guys, and as soon as we know more, we'll let you know. God bless you.